From Strickland and DuPlessis respecting each other 1 second and roasting each other the next, to fans wondering what'll be next for both men after the fight, let's talk about the UFC 297 main event.
Why don't you guys like Cheeto? He's a warrior, he's a stand-up guy.
After showing each other a ton of respect at the start of the UFC's seasonal press conference, things soon got out of hand, and now both men are beefing like crazy. The first question at the presser was addressed to Sean, who was asked how Dricus matches up against him, and the middleweight champ showed Still Knox nothing but respect. He started by saying that Dricus is one tough Look at this guy. He walked through Whitaker. He told Dricus, "Don't let your coach grab your dick no more." The middleweight champ followed that up by saying that he ain't about that and that it'll throw him off. He went a step further when he exaggerated the situation by saying that DuPlessis and his coach make out in the corner. Sean finished by saying, "Let's keep it a clean fight. No dick grabbing." At first, Dricus didn't clap back and ignored Strickland's trash talk, instead choosing to give him his flowers. DDP gave Sean props for his fantastic performance against Izzy, before calling him a tremendous fighter. Dricus then told everyone in attendance that they're gonna have one hell of a fight come the 20th of January. Sean even backed him up and said that the fight's gonna be a war. Then after a few more questions, Strickland said that even though he liked Dricus, they don't have to be respectful with each other since they're gonna fight, and that's where things took a turn for the worse.
Hey, you're looking clean today, bro. You're looking sharp.
Strickland was the instigator as he made another joke about Still Knox and his coach, before talking about how DuPlessis had an easy fight against Robert Whitaker as he went injury-free. Sean said that DuPlessis chickened out when he was offered a world title fight, as he pulled out just because he turned his ankle. Then Dricus finally clapped back at the champ, saying that he isn't championship material and won by fluke against Adesanya. Strickland responded by talking about how he walked through Izzy and was gonna walk through Still Knox next. But as Dricus pointed out, Sean didn't even finish Stylebender, which is the best way to walk through someone. That said, Strickland was least bothered and reminded him that he dominated the best striker in the UFC, while DuPlessis was icing his ankle. They kept arguing, and eventually Sean resorted to making some more jokes about Dricus and his coach. Following that, Strickland did accept that he won't be able to finish DuPlessis, and Still Knox said he was happy the champ knows that, but Sean responded by saying, "I don't gotta worry about finishing you. Your coach will do that for you in the back like you're used to. Your coach got you." At this point, Dricus had enough, so he asked him, "Bro, why are you so angry?" And that's when the press conference got really heated, because DuPlessis decided that Sean needed to be taught a lesson. He whipped out Sean's childhood trauma and used that to get back at the champ. And for better or for worse, people in the MMA community haven't been able to stop talking about his comments. Still Knox said, "You think your dad beat out of you? Your dad doesn't have on me." Dricus added more salt to Sean's wounds when he said that he's gonna beat Strickland so bad that all of his terrible childhood memories are gonna come back. At this point, Strickland was pissed, and it was clear as day that it became personal for him. He told DuPlessis, "I will take your soul. You understand, you pussy?" But all Dricus did was laugh in Strickland's face, which only angered the champ even more. Strickland insulted Still Knox some more, which prompted the South African to say, "Oh, I got a nerve. I see I hit a nerve." Once both men squared off for the face-offs, they needed to be held back the entire time, or else all hell would have broken loose, which is exactly what happened at UFC 296, because both men straight up brawled in the crowd. After their heated exchanges at the press conference, Dana or whoever's in charge of seating arrangements thought it would be a good idea to have both fighters near each other at UFC 296.
Oh, and
wow.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, wow.
Out of nowhere. That's...
During a break between the fights, Sean and Dricus were just hyping up the crowd, but soon they started trash-talking each other there too. And before we knew it, they were fighting in the crowd. Strickland threw more punches than Colby did in the main event, while DuPlessis took him down before they were separated. Alexander Volkanovski even claimed that Sean almost bit Dricus's ear. As you can see, things have become super personal between the two, and they both can't wait to beat the crap out of each other. But that brings us to the all-important question. Who's got the edge heading into UFC 297? To answer that, we need to talk about both men's strengths and weaknesses. Starting with Sean, he's an amazing striker who pushes the pace. In his words, he loves to do the man dance, so he'll always choose to stand and bang with his foes. His combos are effective, and as we saw in his fight against Izzy, his boxing's insanely underrated. I mean, the dude knocked Stylebender down in the first round and mauled him by throwing tens of punches that definitely did a lot of damage. Sure, the dude can't knock dudes out as such, but he's still a terrific fighter who's tough to beat. And his record of 28-5 is proof of that. On top of that, his striking defense is phenomenal. Everyone used to make fun of it for the longest time, including Adesanya. But it was that Philly shell of Sean's that allowed to defend almost all of Izzy's strikes to perfection. If he could pull that off against one of, if not the greatest middleweight ever, then it's fair to assume that his defense will be on point against Dricus, especially since Strickland has improved a lot since his fight with Pereira. Now, even though Sean prefers to do the man dance, he's actually got some great wrestling skills, he just chooses not to use them. But since his wrestling's good overall, you already know he's got terrific takedown defense. He anticipates attempts really well and fights for underhooks expertly. All in all, it's gonna be tough for the South African to take the champ down. Even if Sean is knocked down, he quickly gets back up. He has some excellent cardio, making him well prepared for a 5-round fight. Moving on to Dricus, while he may not be the perfect striker in terms of precision and speed, he's got a lot of power in his fists, so once he catches his foes, they get knocked down. His cross is easily his best punch as it's super powerful and helped him put Trevin Giles to sleep, while it hurt Derek Brunson numerous times during their fight. And of course, he knocked down Whitaker with the same move. So when it comes to sheer KO power, the edge clearly goes to DDP, as he can easily knock Sean out. On top of that, Dricus is a phenomenal grappler, getting 10 of his 20 wins by submission, while he's also great at securing takedowns and unleashing some vicious ground and pound as we saw against Bobby Knuckles. Still Knox used to have terrible cardio, but after his nose surgery, that clearly isn't an issue anymore. Sure, he fights pretty sloppy and isn't the most technically sound fighter, but he's a brawler with power, which can be more than enough to get the job done. The fight's gonna be crazy and I can't wait to see who wins, and that goes for every UFC fan, because we're all wondering what's next for them after the fight. Initially, Khamzat Chimaev was supposed to face Strickland at UFC 297 for the title, but that wasn't possible because Boers got injured, and now here we are. If Sean wins the fight, he'll further cement himself as one of the best fighters in the division, and go on to fight Khamzat, who's been promised a shot at the title by the UFC. A loss for Dricus would be a big setback because he'll be lost in the shuffle, but that doesn't mean his dreams of becoming champ will be no more. He's only 29 and has a lot of time to win the belt in the future as well. Plus, a grudge match against Izzy in the future is a possibility as well. That said, he also has a great chance of winning the belt off Strickland, which would set up an interesting fight between DDP and Khamzat. After all, Sean hasn't defended the belt yet, nor does he have Dana White privilege, so he definitely won't get a rematch. He'll need to fight the most elite dudes at 185 to prove his worth once again, and then maybe he could challenge for the title again. So, from fans wondering what'll be next for both men after the fight, to Strickland and DuPlessis respecting each other one second and roasting each other the next, that was everything on the UFC 297 main event.